And so we are back.
We're back.
And we have a lot to share with you.
A ton.
We have our sweet, precious baby girl.
Yep.
She is sleeping, so she's not going to make it in this video because it's been a long day. We've had a visit with a doula and a midwife. Yeah. She seems to be a little overtired, so I just laid her down. So
it's just us today.
It's just us. Maybe we'll add some pictures of her.
Okay, we'll do that.
But so everyone wants to know, how did everything work out? If you have been following our journey, you know that I was pregnant for a long time. I was over 42 weeks. Yeah. We had our midwife appointment on Monday, April 20th.
Yes.
And that was to figure out, okay, has my cervix changed? We had done a couple of weeks already of naturally inducing methods.
Yeah, so what were some of the things that you did just to naturally induce?
So I did castor oil. I did the midwives brew for 2 days and 2 dosages for 2 days. So really all in all it was 4 times. Right. Pumping, breast pump.
The bouncy ball.
The bouncing ball, all kinds of herbs, all of the ones that are helpful to you, the raspberry leaf tea, a bunch of tinctures that my midwives had me do.
Miles of walking.
A lot of walking, a lot of curb walking, intercourse, a lot of lunges, going
squats.
Up the stairs. Yeah. Everything that you can do, whether it was herbs, activity. My midwife continued to come and check my cervix. She would sweep my membranes and stretch it out.
We did that pretty much
almost every day. I think she did it 5 times. Yeah. And so we did everything we could. So the morning of April 20th, I woke up and I had a little bit of contractions. I felt some mild contractions. And I was like, okay, I think this is it. And later on in the morning, while we were waiting for midwives to come, my waters, and when I say waters, it technically is bag of water. So we don't just have one water bag, we have more than one. So some people say, I broke my water, or some people say, I broke my water. Right. So so when I say that, that's what that means. Yeah. So it appeared that at least some of my waters had broken. I went to the restroom, felt a little trickle, and I told my midwife, hey, I think this is happening. Mm-hmm. And she did a test. It was positive that I did break my water, at least some of it. So the plan was to do what's called a Foley bulb induction, or maybe catheter. I don't remember exactly. Foley bulb induction. Mm-hmm. Basically, it's a bulb that goes inside of your, cervix, your vagina, and they put saline in it, and it's to help naturally dilate the cervix. Right. Well, at this time when my midwife checked me, I was still at a 1.5 centimeter dilated, and I had been this for 3-4 weeks. I hadn't changed. Now my effacement changed. I was maybe
50%.
Yeah, about 50%. So one of my midwives she came and visited us. She was with us, and then the second one was going to come and put the bulb in. However, things changed dramatically that morning. We got a call from my primary midwife, and after thinking everything through, she just felt like I wasn't the best candidate for the Foley bulb, doing it at home, because she felt like at this point I was 42 weeks and 3 days. Mm-hmm. We tried everything under the sun. My cervix wasn't changing. Mm-hmm. And usually when the bulb works, it's in a combination with a low dose of Pitocin or something to help the cervix dilate. Mm-hmm. So with her experience, she felt like the people that she's done this with ended up going to the hospital to get medically induced anyway. And she felt like I was falling right into that same place. So after getting off the phone with my primary midwife, as my other midwife was here, she just said, hey, we really recommend women who go past 42 weeks to get induced and in the hospital, and you're 42-3, and if your waters have broken, at least some of them, my concern is that the baby needs to come out, or you need to be in active labor within the next 24 hours. Right. So you can wait around and you can see what your body does, or you can just go ahead and get admitted to the hospital and you can be in their hands And it's better that you go in earlier versus later when there could be an emergency type of situation.
Right. Which was tough. At that particular time, I was in the back, and Salina had called me out and said, hey, I need you. Came out here and we discussed it with our midwife and informed us of everything Salina just mentioned. So we had to make a decision, align the priorities, and make the call. And we did.
Now, at this point, emotionally, I was drained. I was tired.
Right.
I was like, I'm waiting. We've been waiting for this baby for so long, and I'm almost 43 weeks. And
week 41 to 42.
It was hard.
Yeah, especially with the quarantine and everything.
You're stuck at home. Man. You're thinking, is tonight the night? Is tomorrow the day? Is tomorrow's date the one? And it just never happened.
It was brutal. Yeah.
So there was a part of me that was a little relieved, like, okay, let's just go meet our baby.
Right.
Right. Now, as you know, my goal and my dream was to have a home birth, a natural home birth, specifically a water birth. It's just something that I fell in love with from many years ago. And we had that set up.
Right.
But as you know, birth plans often change. So immediately we go ahead and pack our bags.
Now this is quick too, because she got here about 10:30, and by 11:45, 10:30, we're packing bags.
Yeah.
Like we're packing bags. We're like, we didn't have a go back because we planned on doing it at home. So now we're just blitzing it, hoping we grab everything. Our midwife is helping us pack. It was just a tornado of
it was.
Get up and go.
It was, but my midwife was amazing. She stayed with me and helped me figure out what I needed to take. Yeah. And I was hungry, and so we were hungry. We went to go pick up some Thai on the way to the hospital.
Yeah.
My midwife called ahead, talked to the on-call doctor, and she seemed really awesome, and that she totally understood where we were coming from, and that she wasn't going to force anything or any type of, the medication or whatever would go at our pace, which we appreciated. Yeah. So we go get admitted to the hospital on Monday.
So we get to the hospital at around 1 and get admitted and all that. Around 4 o'clock is when the process is started. That's when the doctor came in and decided to administer some drugs to get things moving, which was what? Cytotec, right?
Cytotec.
Yeah.
Cytotec is what they decided to put me on, and the thinking was, hey, this is not like Pitocin. It's a slower acting, not as strong drug, somewhat. Right. And she said, in my case, when I was on it for like 3 days, and nothing ever happened.
With all of her kids.
With her first child.
This is the OB talking. Right?
That's what she said. So they went ahead and started with the Cytotec, and I don't know how long it took for me to feel it.
Within a couple hours, you started feeling the impact of a Cytotec.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So they gave me 1 dose of Cytotec, right?
Yeah, 1 dose. Yeah.
1 dose.
Yeah.
And I started feeling it. Contractions were definitely stronger. I was using my Hypnobabies method.
Yeah. And then 4 hours later.
4 hours later, they decided to give me another dose.
Which really picked it up, right?
It really did. Yeah. Now, the thing about it is the contractions that I felt were nothing like the ones I woke up with that morning. The ones that I woke up with that morning were the ones that I've read about and I've heard about, like, what they start feeling like and where in the body they feel. But once I started taking the Cytotec, it changed the way that these contractions felt. I started feeling this sharp, shooting, stabbing pain in my rectum more than anywhere else, and it just intensified more and more. And I breathed through it, and I did what I could, as much as I could. So that we were now going through the whole night, and
13 hours to be exact.
13 hours, and these contractions were hitting me about 1 minute to 3 minutes, like just going.
So there's no rest in between.
There's no rest,
so
and by this
hours.
time, I was still 2 centimeters.
That's it.
And the pain was like an 8. So I didn't sleep at all. I couldn't lay down. I was sitting up the whole time. He's laying, he's trying to get some rest on the crappy couch next to us.
Which was awful.
Awful.
So, here I come.
Right. So the morning comes, and they decide to put in a Foley bulb, which is what we had talked about with the midwives.
Right.
and they were going to give me a low dosage of Pitocin.
Right.
So they did that, and that worked, and it was painful and it was horrible, and but it worked, and so it got me to a 5.
Yeah, got 5 centimeters.
But at that time, I was miserable.
Yeah. So now we're looking at probably around 20 hours now. Okay. We're about 20 hours in, from the first side attack, where now she's been 20 hours of really intense 7-8 level contractions. Only now at a 5, no sleep, a minute to 3 minutes apart for 13 to 20 hours.
And effacement had changed.
And
maybe
effacement 70% is the only thing that changed, but a minute to 3 minutes for 20 hours.
Now with all of this, our baby girl, her heart and everything was great. My blood pressure, her heart, at no point was there an emergency. So I'll just put that out there.
Yeah, there wasn't. Yeah. So at that point, that the doctor comes in. We had a shift change though, so there was a new doctor, that came in, introduced herself, and decided to instruct us on the next steps. And at this point, they wanted to administer Pitocin and hit every 30 minutes and increase every 30 minutes.
Every 30 minutes.
And that was not flying.
So we decided no, that's not what we wanted to do. We really wanted to try to ease our way into this as much as possible.
Yeah. So we decided not to do the Pitocin at that rate. Yeah,
because she wanted to break the rest of my waters and do Pitocin every 30 minutes. And so she had more of an aggressive approach than the first doctor.
Really aggressive.
We didn't feel comfortable with it, considering we wanted a home birth. And so we decided, let's talk about this. Our doula came. She stayed with us the rest of the time until our baby girl was here. Yeah. And she helped significantly. So that was awesome. So we talked about everything. At this point, I was 6.5 centimeters dilated. And contractions were still beating me up, and it was really high. It just wasn't good. Right. So
now we're past 24 hours of dealing with this, and we're having basically no progress at this point.
Not much.
Not much, yeah.
Not enough. Yeah. So they want to push it. Now, at this point, I didn't have an epidural, and I wasn't so much against medication. I just wanted a home birth. Right. But considering that we went to a hospital, our birth plan completely changed.
Hard left turn.
And I've said this to him, I'm not trying to get any medals. I don't feel like I need to go through this without an epidural. I mean, it would have been nice, but now that we're talking about all of these drugs, that changes the game, and it makes contractions way more intense than it would be at home. Hypno babies or not. So after everything was said and done, I was sleep deprived. I was in so much pain. I was discouraged because my cervix wasn't doing much. Right. I said, you know what? I just know this is going to kill me. So just give me the epidural, then we could talk about breaking the rest of my waters, and then we could talk about Pitocin. Right. So that's what we did. Now, when the doctor went down and checked my cervix, she said, oh, your waters seem to have already been broken. However, we noticed there's a meconium present. So now we are...
Clock is ticking now.
The clock is ticking.
Yeah.
So there was a little bit more of a push of the Pitocin because of, the meconium. I was like, okay, that's fine.
And the fact that you had the epidural, pushing the Pitocin a little bit wasn't as big of a deal.
Right.
Because of the epidural,
So many hours later, I'm working on the nurses are working with me, through nursing shift changes, and the peanut ball, they had it in the middle of my legs, and we're going to the right, we're going to the left.
I kept her moving.
Contorted. I mean, all kinds of movements. And after how many hours?
Another 12 hours.
Another 12 hours before the Pitocin, they took off.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, 6 hours.
Another 6 hours happened. Yeah. They said, hey, your contractions aren't exactly doing what we want them to do. And when we're checking your cervix, nothing is changing. Right. So we are going to take you off the Pitocin. Sometimes after you've been on it for so long, your placenta, your body just stops.
It gets used to it.
It gets used to it. Right. It's like soaks it up. So they took me off of it for an hour. An hour comes back, or hour passes by. I'm back on it, and it did what they wanted to do, in the sense of they saw, okay, the contractions were doing what they wanted them to do. They weren't too close. Right. But after being on that for so long,
now we're looking at 6 hours after the reset. So
they go ahead and check my cervix. And nothing changed. I think I was 90% effaced.
90% effaced.
Still 6.5, maybe 7.
On a contraction, 7.
Yeah, centimeters dilated.
Yeah.
After 36 hours in, I knew what was coming. My worst fear. So the doctor comes in and she says, your cervix hasn't changed. We need to talk about getting this baby out. We tried everything. At that point, you guys know, like, we tried everything we could. Right. Naturally, we waited weeks, and we tried everything in the hospital.
Yeah, we did everything we could. We gave it the best shot we had, man. And one thing that we feel is that we don't feel is regret. You know, we did everything in our ability that we could, and so we knew that if we decided to go with a C-section, it was either one because of emergency, or either because it was literally the last option, and that's what we got to, was that was the last option before we would potentially put the baby or Salina in harm's way, and we didn't want to do that. So
of course, it's not worth it.
Right. So we decided to pull the trigger. The doctor, let us talk about it for a few minutes. She came back. We decided to go ahead and move forward. And at that particular moment, it was go time. It was 3:13 a.m. They got her prepped, got me ready. By 3:43, the baby was out. Yeah. 30 minutes. No, and literally to the dot, because I actually timed it. So it was just moving. Now, of course, we're both delirious. She hasn't slept in a day and a half, almost 2. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Everything's moving. Now we're in the OR and all these bright lights. Those who have experienced it, and you go in there and there's like 15 people in there, and it's just moving and go, and the baby's out, and we're just trying to figure out, is the baby crying, and what's happening, and worried about her and get the baby. So things kept just moving so fast, and we didn't really know what to think. We're just kind of like watching this movie play out that we seem to be the main stars of, and we're like, what's happening? But the C-section took place. Baby comes, she starts crying. Salina's waiting for the cry. The baby Val starts crying, and they did find some meconium in her lungs, so they were sucking all that out, getting it. So we made the right call. In that particular case, and presented the baby to mommy, and where they could love on each other and talk and all that.
And what seems so sweet is. You're gonna show the picture,
right?
When he put her next to my face, she was upset, she was crying, and then once I talked to her, she was just so soothed and comforted. So that was a really sweet moment.
So a C-section happens, we get back to the recovery room, and of course we're processing all this, absolutely delirious. She's drugged up.
I had to sleep. I was so out of it, so out of it. That's the thing. It's like I couldn't enjoy it like I thought I would, because I was out of it. I couldn't feel the emotions because I was so drugged up. After we had her, I would think that all I would want is just to spend time with her, but I was so tired because I was so pumped up with all the drugs, and I was swollen, and I'm still dealing with some swelling, and it wasn't what I wanted at all. It was really hard.
So, so we've been processing that as we've been home. Obviously, we love our beautiful baby. We're so in love, it's crazy. The gift is wonderful. The process is what we're processing. We're still dealing with, because you gotta understand, we've planned these things for months to be at home, and it's a dream, and all these things were set in play, and literally within an hour, everything got shifted. And so now we're kind of winging it, but also at the mercy of medical professionals, and trying to figure things out, navigate, and try to keep our experience as pleasant as possible, as healthy as possible. Yes, it's not at home, but we definitely don't want to, make it harder than it already was by just abandoning our original plan.
Yeah, so we've been adjusting. We're still in love with our Valentina. She is such a good baby. She's peaceful, and we're just in love. We're so thankful to have her. She's I don't want to jinx myself, but she's been a pretty easy baby, I feel like. She's eating well, we're breastfeeding, she's latching well. I have nothing to compare her to, but she's the best, and I'm in heaven, and I'm loving it. So, you know, after talking to our doula and our midwife, you know, understanding that it's okay to be happy about the baby and grieve the process, grieve the death of, you know, what I wanted.
Of a dream.
Yeah.
Process.
So I obviously have a lot of processing to do. This is very new, still very fresh, and I can't talk about it without crying. But I'll get there.
Yes, she will, baby. That's right. She will.
I'll get there.
Yes, she will. You know, and that's the thing. You know, again, we are celebrating Val. We love her to pieces. We are so in love. That is our girl. And there's nothing about having her that is anything other than wonderful. I mean, she's just great. That's her. That's Val. That's where we're so happy that she's healthy. I'm so happy that Salina is healthy. You know, we put so much stock in or invested so much in the process, and maybe more than some families do. Okay. Yeah. Some families don't put as much in. They say, I'm just going to the hospital, have this baby, and call it. But for us, we put a lot into this experience we wanted for the home. So there is something for us to grieve as far as the process, because we put so much into it, probably more than the average family. So, we're
and
allowed.
What I didn't want is to go to a hospital.
Yeah, that was one.
Because I don't know. I just have this. I had this fear that C-section was going to happen, and exactly what I didn't want was what happened.
Yeah. So that's what it is, And again, people say, "Well, you got your baby." Yeah, I know that. Yes, we do. We have our child, and she's beautiful and wonderful and healthy, and we're great. Park it over here. The process and everything we planned for didn't happen, so we're allowed that space to be able to grieve what we planned on as far as the process and investment and the heart and the dream. We're allowed that, and so. Yes, again, they're two unrelated things. We're so happy about Val and elated. And over here, as far as our dream, we just have to grieve that, but knowing that we will move past it, move forward, and, hey, we'll be good, man. Yeah. We got this far, 10 years of infertility and not having a baby. We'll be fine. We can get through this.
Of course.
So this is small peanuts compared to what we've been through.
Yes, for sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
so
good.
I hope you like the pictures that you see or that you saw, and it's not the video I wanted. I mean, we had a birth photographer. I envisioned this beautiful, emotional, captivating, heartfelt. I had it all in my head, and this is what it turned out to be. So I don't. You know what? I can always pray for VBAC, for vaginal birth after cesarean. And maybe our next baby will be it. So,
well, we just want to thank you, all of you, for being patient and loving and kind and understanding, and allowing us to have space in the process, and knowing that we're here, we're not going anywhere. The journey continues on Let's Make Lemonade. We're going to continue to show, how we're moving forward into what you call the fourth trimester, right? Having Val here, postpartum, how we're adjusting, things we're doing, things we're getting involved in. So the journey hasn't ended. We're still here, still rocking. And we just hope and pray that you stay with us and support, because it means a lot to us. It really, really does. You guys help a lot. And we love you all. Thank you so much. All right.
Thank you, guys. Next time, we'll have baby Val on here too.
Oh, yeah. Make her YouTube debut.
Yeah. Until next time, friends. See you then.
See ya.